The Miami Marlins embraced a full rebuild after finishing as one of the worst teams in the major leagues in 2024. After trading the remnants of established talent on their roster during the offseason, it left the roster in scraps, and today we'll be previewing all of those changes and how they will affect the 2025 Marlins. The Marlins wasted no time in the offseason tearing down the roster with the trade of Jake Berger to the Rangers for the three lesser known prospects of Echedry Vargas, Max Acosta, and Brian Mendoza. All three slot into the lower half of the Marlins' top 30 prospects. Acosta is the most MLB ready, finishing last season in Double A. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the highest ceiling, and he projects more as a utility option instead of an everyday player. Overall, not a great haul back for the prolific hitter, but it's okay for a player who finished 2024 with a 103 OPS plus. And then 12 days later, the Marlins swung a deal with their divisional rivals, the Philadelphia Phillies, sending Jesus Luzardo to the city of brotherly love in exchange for prospects Starlin Caba and Amarian Boyd. While losing Luzardo will sting, the Marlins did deal from the strength of their team and did fairly well, especially with the addition of Caba. Caba actually cracked the most recent top 100 prospects list at 81. The 19-year-old shortstop finished last season in A ball and has some definite skills already. Caba is a phenomenal fielder with some decent bat to ball skills. He'll still be a ways away from the majors, but getting that package back in general was a job well done. As for the rest of the offseason, the team did virtually nothing to improve the major league roster, only signing one major league contract in the form of Eric Wagaman, who was a 26-year-old rookie last season that only appeared in 16 games for the Angels. However, the same sort of impact could be felt for the players who left the team, with only Vidal Brujan being a name worth mentioning, who left via trade with the Chicago Cubs. Braun had his best season in the majors last year in 2024, but still only meant he had a zero point 0.5 WAR and a 70 OPS plus. Unfortunately, he never really developed into the player we were promised for so long, and it isn't that big of a loss for the Marlins. That brings the Marlins' projected roster to Nick Fortes at catcher, Jonah Bride at first, Otto Lopez at second, Xavier Edwards at short, Connor Norby at third, Jesus Sanchez in left, Cal Stowers in center, Griffin Conine in right, with prospects Davidson De Los Santos projected to start at the DH spot, with Liam Hicks, Javier Sanoa, Derek Hill, and Dane Myers rounding out the positional players. As you can see from the Zips projections, there are some clear weaknesses to this team, particularly in the outfield. The rotation has potential, but is currently projected to be the 22nd best unit in baseball. If Alcantara can get back to form, and Weathers, Cabrera, and Meyer can all hit the potential we know, this unit could sneakily be one of the better ones in baseball. But health continues to slow their progression. The bullpen isn't as promising, and they're projected to finish towards the bottom of the league at 25th. Players who could break past the projections has to start with Jesus Sanchez. If you're a follower of the channel, you already know how much of a fan of Sanchez I am. But Sanchez is a StatCast darling, and with just a few tweaks to his game, he can certainly produce more than the 27th best left fielder in baseball. However, we need to see a big step up from Sanchez in 2025, or else we need to start to wonder if he'll ever hit that top prospect form that we were once promised. Another player who could outperform his projected numbers is Connor Norby. Norby is a former top prospect in the Orioles system who is putting up ludicrous numbers in the minors before being traded to the Marlins. Since then, he hasn't quite lived up and been at that same level, but there is still a lot of things to like from the infield prospect. His boost will have to come from the offensive side because he is being played out of position, and his defensive value isn't great at third. For prospects that could have their impact on the major league roster, we have to start with the aforementioned Davison De Los Santos. De Los Santos absolutely rakes, and he continues to put up absurd numbers across the minor leagues. He hit 40 homers last year with a 914 OPS, and until he hit AAA, he genuinely looked like a man amongst boys. He can't play defense, and at best, he will be a first baseman. He looks like he will make the majors quickly in 2025, if not out of training camp. Problem with the MLB ready prospects for the Marlins is the other big time hitter falls in the same sort of positions in Agustin Ramirez. Ramirez is being masked as a catcher, but if we're being honest, he'll probably be a first baseman or DH. He does pound the ball, hitting a respectable 25 homers last season with an 845 OPS, and actually outperformed De Los Santos at the AAA level. Overall, it'll be fun to see the two players once they make the majors, but there will probably be some jostling for playing time between the two. The next name that could make their impact on the Major League roster is Robbie Snelling. Unlike the previous two players, Snelling didn't have the greatest 2024. However, from the point where he joined the Marlins, he looked significantly better, getting pretty much all of those peripherals heading back in the correct direction, and even pushed his way to AAA for a start at the end of the year. With the injury history of the Marlins, there'll be plenty of room for Snelling to make the roster and have its impact, and hopefully we can get that best version of him. As for potential trade chips, the big name has to be Sandy Alcantara, who's returning from Tommy John surgery. If he can prove he is healthy and even close to his Cy Young form, you have to imagine he'll be shipped out. The Marlins have been shipping out pretty much any established talent that has value, and even though there's still 2 years of cheaper control over Alcantara after 2025, Alcantara will most likely be on a new team by the end of the year. He should be able to fetch a really good haul, assuming he can return anywhere close to his Cy Young form. And that brings us to the final predictions for the team. The team does have a wide range of possibilities for the 2025 years with so much young, unproven talent. If everything goes wrong, this team could genuinely finish as the worst team in the major leagues at a record of 57 and 105. If everything goes well and the young players start to show up, then you could see this team finish as a team on the rise, winning 70 games with 92 losses. Unfortunately for the Marlins, I think they're going to be finishing closer to their floor than their ceiling, finishing 2025 at a 63 and 99 record. And that's going to do it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, have a great day.